One Piece chapter 1123, it is titled The Void Fortnight. The chapter, it starts off with the repercussions of Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki bomb that Emmett set off in the last chapter, and there are so many different Marines that are knocked unconscious. S-Snake is telling the Marines to wake up since the Straw Hats are escaping, and I mentioned this in my review, but Doll being knocked unconscious was really important, and I didn't notice that Palm Sky was knocked out as well. And the reason why this is so important is because these two individuals, they are vice admirals, and that means that Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki is strong enough to knock out even vice admirals. Dory had asked the question if the Conqueror's Haki was stronger than that of Red Hair's, and this is massive because so many people within the community say that Shanks has the best Conqueror's Haki in this series, and honestly I think it's fair to say because he has the most feats that proves that. And some will also argue that Garp currently has some of the best Conquerors strictly because of his Galaxy Impact that was recently animated, which is fair, but I just think that Shanks has some better feats. And even with Shanks' level of Conqueror's Haki, he still hasn't done anything like Joy Boy did. The closest thing that he's done happened in Film Red, which for the most part that movie isn't canon, but it's still the best thing that we've seen. And in this movie, Shanks, he made some vice admirals fall to their knees, yet they didn't go unconscious. It's kind of weird because we know that you can't train Conqueror's Haki the same way that you do other types of Haki. The only way that Conquerors get stronger is if the user themselves get stronger. And can Shanks get stronger? I mean, he's in his 40s, but at the same time, when it comes to age, you can't really look at that in terms of when characters are in their prime, because, well, age in One Piece is so weird. You see so many people that are like 100 years old still doing, like, competing with top tier characters in the series. But the reason why I question Shanks' strength, not because I don't think he's strong, but the way that the story is going, Shanks is already super strong, and since he's not the protagonist, he really doesn't have anywhere he needs to grow. So I'd say this is probably the strongest his Conqueror's Haki will ever be, compared to Luffy, who's going to become the Pirate King, and he'll only improve as he gets older, as he gets stronger, as he gets to more fights. So Luffy, his Conqueror's Haki will get to the level of Joy Boy, which I can't wait to see. I also do want to mention maybe the possibility of Joy Boy's Haki being this strong is because it was accumulated into that rope, so a lot more Conquerors was stored into an object or was in use than typical Conquerors we've seen use. Luffy says his goodbye to Emmett and thanks him for everything that he's done. I saw different people getting mad at Luffy for laughing instead of crying, or being angry that they're leaving Emmett behind. They wanted him to cry like he did with Bon Clay or like he did with Ryunosuke, and I think that's nitpicking because Luffy doesn't really know Emmett like that. They only interacted for a couple of panels, only talked a little bit. And since they're not close, I don't necessarily see Luffy going all out and crying his eyes out or getting that upset for him. But at the same time, Luffy gets upset for anything, so I can kinda understand why people are making this argument. But hey, all of the Straw Hats there are accounted for, and we are headed to ELBAF, and I am so excited for this because it's been such a long time since we've been introduced to that island, so I'm really excited for it. I believe we're supposed to get one more chapter before another Oda break, and so I'll hold off on making a video about ELBAF until that chapter drops, because it's safe to assume that we're not going to head to ELBAF right after this chapter. While everyone is celebrating, Sanji, he's talking to Vegapunk, and we get a flashback from Vegapunk's perspective about how this incident came to be. There are 3 Stellas that are originally involved, which include Shaka, Pythagoras, and the original Vegapunk. Shaka notices a miscalculation in the data, which he concludes that someone tampered and took some of the energy from the Mother Flame. So these 3 are safe, meaning that only Lilith, Edison, York, and Atlas are the culprits, and obviously we know that it's York, but since it's a flashback, they don't know it's her, and I'll go into more detail about that a little bit later. I love how Vegapunk the entire time, he's like, oh, it's Lilith, she's the one that stole it because she's supposed to be the embodiment of evil, and it's kind of fitting that York, she's the one that actually stole it because she embodies greed. So a week before the present, Pythagoras, he identifies that the culprit was York, and now that we know who the culprit is, why is it that in the scene whenever he was locked up, Vegapunk was shocked at this reveal, and that will be revealed a little bit later in this breakdown. But the reason why Pythagoras came to this conclusion that it was York was because the memories she synchronized within the punk records were phony, the weaponized CBs they were deployed, and a jamming transponder snail was used. These three Vegapunk, they heard the message of York snitching to the Gorosei that Vegapunk was researching the Void Century, and this on top of the Mother Flame being stolen is how Vegapunk came to the conclusion that the world government is possibly using an ancient weapon to destroy countries. Now they have the Mother Flame as a power source, and the ancient weapon that it could be would be Uranus. And the reason why I'm saying it could be, and I've said this in a couple videos that it's been more or less confirmed, I'm gonna push back a little bit on that. I want to correct myself. It's not been confirmed yet, but it's been really implied. But now that this has come to light, Vegapunk, his death is set in stone, and so they decide in order to mitigate the damage, they're going to spread the news around the world, which is something they could do with Egghead's technology compared to Ahara a couple years ago. And to do this, Vegapunk, he steeled his resolve, and he's even willing to die to do so, and I give him so much more respect as a character. But if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. We post different content all the time. I also want to mention this because I think it's very important. Vegapunk, he talks about wanting to safeguard the cloud plant that produces island clouds, and the reason why this is so important is because he believes that it's pivotal to saving or potentially saving humanity in the future, and this is based off of the island sea levels continuing to rise because of the use of the ancient weapons. Now for the rest of the flashback, it's just Vegapunk acting on his preparation, seeing him prepare for the broadcast. He's hiding the snail inside Emmett, and York is watching him do this, and Vegapunk, he's saying that he's just running like standard normal tests that he previously done, trying to throw York off, and this is how she eventually was able to figure out that this is where the snail was located because of the amount of time that Vegapunk stayed here. The Stellas, they record the broadcast and wipe their memories of the incident so that nothing gets uploaded to the punk records, which would end up spoiling the plan. So this explains how Vegapunk didn't know that York was behind everything, even though technically he found out in the past. The Vegapunk wrote a message from the past to the present Vegapunks and informed them that the world government knows about you guys researching the Void Century, but don't worry about it because we've made preparations, so have faith in me and die. This statement takes me back to when Shaka was having a conversation with a dragon, implying that he thinks that he's going to die soon, which also ties into Vegapunk and Sanji's conversation where Vegapunk told Sanji not to help him escape and let him die. A lot of people were questioning, at least when Sanji first got Vegapunk, how he just allowed Kizaru to shoot him in the chest just like that, and so many people were kind of bashing Sanji. I'm not gonna lie, he was the laughingstock of the monster trio, but now that like we got this panel, we know why Sanji didn't really give that much effort in trying to save Vegapunk. But the reason why Vegapunk wants to die is because he believes this will set something in motion, which was the broadcast and more people believing that the One Piece does exist. And Vegapunk also states that he wants the Straw Hats to be the crew that finds the One Piece. I'm not entirely sure why. It could probably be because they ended up interacting with them, seeing that the Straw Hats are good people, and they want that in their hands over the world government. The chapter, it ends with Luffy and Usopp being hoisted by the giants. Luffy, like, he was interested in ELBAF, so, you know, and he's the main character. He's also Joy Boy, so that's probably why they're hoisting him up. But I love seeing Usopp here being the center of attention, because aside from Luffy, and I even argue even more than Luffy, he's excited to go to ELBAF since it has ties to his dream of being a brave warrior of the sea. I like this chapter. I thought it gave us a little bit more insight. I don't necessarily think it's anything groundbreaking in terms of like plot twist or anything like that, but I still thought it was a good chapter. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.